Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to speak about Nico Williams and the operation and how close we are to signing the player. Then later in the video, we're also going to be talking about Barcelona not signing a CDM. Hansi Flick, Deco, John Laporta all know that they will not be signing not Joshua Kimmich, Guido Rodriguez, Mikel Merino, nobody. Barcelona are satisfied with two players that they have right now that do play within those positions, and that is Marc, Bernal, and Casado. Then lastly, we will talk about two Brazilian players that might be sold this summer, which does revolve around Rafinha and Vitor Roque. So there is plenty to discuss for today's video. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys are Barcelona fans, this will be the channel for you. Barcelona is expected to have a very big summer transfer window. If Barcelona end up signing Nico Williams and Dani Olmo, it's going to be huge. It's going to give Barcelona a huge boost and definitely make this team compete for La Liga and the Champions League. So there's plenty of reasons why we should be very optimistic, very enthusiastic about the next season. And we are going to be following all matches, talking about the games, seeing what has improved under Hansi Flick in this YouTube channel. So if that thing is for you, please subscribe to the channel. And if you also do want to support my YouTube channel, please like this video. I would really appreciate it. So let's first talk about Nico Williams. And so it says here, according to some sources, that Nico Williams is one of the many players PSG have been following. They're trying to reach an agreement with the player, but it isn't easy. Barcelona are leading the race to get him right now. Here's the thing, right? I find it very annoying to hear that Luis Enrique, a coach who did coach Barcelona before, wants to have every player Barcelona is linked with. If Barcelona is interested in renewing Dembele, PSG want to get into the race and take away the player. If Barcelona want to have a player like Xavi Simons, PSG will make it very difficult for us. Every player for the past 5 years that was linked to Barcelona, PSG get in immediately right after. And now today, we're hearing that PSG and Luis Enrique do want Nico Williams. We never heard PSG wanting Nico Williams ever throughout the whole course of this summer so far until the past 2 days. And I wonder why, right? I really do wonder why PSG want to follow the footsteps of Barcelona. And I find it just so crazy to hear that Luis Enrique, somebody who respects Barcelona a lot, wants to follow the game plan of our own club. So it's insane. Now, the reason why I'm not so nervous about this whole thing and why I believe that Nico Williams will not choose PSG even though PSG are offering more money is because he simply loves Barcelona. He likes the players that are in Barcelona and does want to play with Lamine Yamal. So there is no need to worry about PSG's presence. I believe that Nico Williams has his decision made. It's just that right now he has not been taking any sort of measures to speak to the media and say that yes, I'll be joining FC Barcelona. The sooner the better. We also do have other reports claiming that Barcelona have an agreement with the agent of Nico Williams on salary, the deal structure, and many other things. Many clubs have called to understand the situation like Arsenal, Chelsea, PSG especially, but Barcelona is the most advanced with his agent. Only Nico Williams okay and final green light is missing. We also do have other assuring reports coming from Mateo Moreto, who has explained Nico Williams prefers to remain in Spain and Barcelona know this. Even though PSG have asked about his situation recently, if Nico does not stay at Bilbao, Barcelona currently have an advantage. So that's basically everything that is missing right now. It is just the final green light of Nico, but he has yet to respond. Fabrizio Romano also stated that he believes that maximum by the beginning of next week, like by Monday, Nico Williams will make his decision. Now keep in mind, because they are so persistent and so eager to finish the Nico Williams deal, and because they are so obsessed with the player, they are not thinking about completing any other deal right now. They are postponing the Dani Olmo operation. It has been explained over and over again that Barcelona will not close any other deal such as Dani Olmo until they know Nico's final answer, and they're waiting for his call. And so I know, right, after me explaining this whole story, you may ask, hey Kevin, why isn't Barcelona focused on a pivot? We needed a profile like that over the past season under Xavi Hernandez. And I understand, right, that is where we are going to be transitioning to the next conversation. Why is it so weird to hear that Barcelona want to prioritize signing Nico and Dani Olmo first before any other thing? And let me tell you, that is because of what I said earlier. Hansi Flick is very satisfied with Marc, Bernal, and Casado. Every source has claimed this, and they believe that Hansi Flick does not want to sign a pivot, and that explains the reason why Barcelona are going for Nico Williams and Dani Olmo and nobody else. Let me give you guys some context on what we have been through in the past year. Guido Rodriguez was eyed first by Xavi Hernandez. When Xavi left, the whole transfer plan has changed, and Hansi Flick said, okay, if we do sign a pivot, it would be Mikel Merino, because Mikel Merino is somebody who knows how to tackle, he knows how to intercept. He did KO Germany in the Euros with that wonderful header. So he's a big game player. And I remember ever since Sergio Busquets left, Barcelona showed that they really needed a CDM. Xavi was trying to adapt Barcelona without Sergio Busquets. So we used a 2-3-5 formation with 3 total midfielders behind the front 5, and that was Cancelo, Frankie, and Gavi. It did not end up working out because with Koundé and Araujo being at the back and the only 2 defenders, it left too much space on the wings. So then Xavi Hernandez shifted. He went to a double pivot and used Andreas Christensen and Frankie in the double pivot position, which worked amazing. We never truly shifted into a lone pivot type of formation because we did not have one in the first place. Barcelona couldn't really be flexible. We couldn't use a 4-3-3 with a lone pivot and having 2 great number 8s, right? 2 interiors. That did not exist. We had to have Frankie and Christensen with 1 lone interior, which was either Gundogan or Pedri. And it's crazy, right? You may assume that this is something that happens very consistently in football for clubs to not have a pivot, but no other club out there in Europe were going through a season without a CDM. And so because Barcelona were suffering so much last season because of the lack of a CDM, you're gonna tell me, right, that after a few training sessions, you're gonna tell me that Hansi Flick thinks that Barcelona should not sign a CDM at all? It's just crazy. But then again, I feel optimistic because what if we uncover more gems? What if Marc Bernal and Casado are the next 2 big gems coming from La Masia? And honestly, that gets me very excited because every time we do have a La Masia player come through and they go into the first team, most of the time, at the very minimum, they perform very solid. And Hansi Flick really does bet on Marc Bernal and Marc Casado. Like, think about this, right? For you to deny to sign a new pivot, even though you saw Barcelona suffer last season under Xavi without a pivot, Marc Bernal and Marc Casado must be doing very good during the training sessions for Hansi to say, we do not need to spend any money in this position. Marc Bernal and Marc Casado do have the talents and the work rate to really build something special. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Marc Bernal and Marc Casado, Marc Bernal is a player who just signed a renewal with Barcelona. It ties him with the club until June 30th, 2026. His release clause has increased from 6 million euros to 20 million euros. He's a talented young midfielder. He's only 17 years old and he has been climbing through the Barcelona youth ranks over the past 7 to 8 years, and he will for sure be in the first team dynamics while at the same time being switched on and off with Barca Athletic. Currently, Bernal is doing preseason with the first team under Hansi Flick, and Flick loves him. He is going to be part of the preseason tour squad in the United States, so expect a lot of minutes coming from Marc Bernal when we do face AC Milan, City, and Real Madrid. It's going to be very exciting. As for Marc Casado, also another player that has just renewed with Barcelona a couple of weeks ago. He is tied to the club until June 30th, 2028. People like Laporta, Joan Soler, and Deco were all there and present for Casado to sign his renewal. They really wanted the player and wanted him to stay. And let's remember, Joan Laporta 2 months ago stated that Hansi Flick does bet on Casado, and that he himself, right, Laporta, even though he's not even a sporting director, he said that we have Casado to reinforce the midfield. He has full trust in him. So Marc Casado is a 20-year-old player who has joined La Masia back in 2016 from CF Dam. Casado has been a consistent player in the reserve team for the past 2 years, and he was made captain of Barca Athletic in the 2023-2024 season by Rafa Marquez. He made his first team debut back in 2022, and he has made 5 total first team appearances so far, and he is expected to be promoted to the first team permanently under our new manager. And also, Barcelona just won against UE Olot 1-0, and Marc Casado came in the second half. This was a closed door friendly, so nobody really saw the match, but Pablo Torre did score in this match. Marc Casado impressed a lot in the second half, and it was reported that Hansi Flick was delighted with his performance. And what I find so strange, right, and interesting is that Alejandro Balde did link Casado to Joshua Kimmich by calling him Joshua Kimmich on social media. Joshua Kimmich is a Bayern Munich midfielder. Balde was basically explaining the way that Casado does play really does remind him of Joshua Kimmich, right? They have the same abilities. In that match, he was so solid defensively and fluid in his movement, and he helped dictate the game and the rhythm with Marc Bernal. So he did show great potential, and he is definitely making a strong case for himself to be a prominent first team player under Flick. And so now lastly, I do want to speak about Vitor Roque and Rafinha, and I do want to ask you guys this: if there was one player like to sell between Rafinha and Vitor Roque, who would that player be? Because right now, the only players that we have been talking about in terms of letting go to get some transfer funds has been Vitor Roque and Rafinha. It says here that if Barcelona sells Vitor Roque, it must be at least 40 million euros. And Al Hilal have already approached Barcelona for Vitor Roque, and he is considered as a player the club would be open to selling. And it's just insane, right? It's insane to see that Barcelona 6 months ago brought him in early, used him for a couple of games. He scored a couple of goals. I believe that it was around 2 goals in 3 matches. And then fast forward a few weeks later, now Vitor Roque might be leaving permanently for more than 40 million euros. Al Hilal are willing to spend a lot of money on whatever player that does come from Europe, and Vitor Roque might be the next one. I have said it before that I think that Vitor Roque should be given some time to adapt to Barcelona style. It does take really any player some time to adapt at Barcelona in terms of the language, the playing style, the city, and everything all around. But if Barcelona truly want to sell him this early to Al Hilal, something must be wrong that Barcelona just don't like at all. There has been so many reports claiming that Vitor Roque's first touch is just really bad. His technique with the ball is also really bad. He also suffers during the rondos, which is a basic requirement during the Barcelona training sessions. And so it's really sad to see that Vitor Roque might go down as a player that could see failure. And I really did not want that, right? If Xavi Hernandez reduced Vitor Roque's minutes and then you see Hansi Flick saying, I don't mind selling the player during the preseason, then yes, something has to be wrong with a player that we just don't know about. And then moving on towards Rafinha, it says here, according to Fernando Polo, that Barcelona have received a 65 million euro offer for Rafinha from a Saudi Arabian club. The club feels this figure is too low, but they have eased down their demands for Rafinha a little bit since they are aware of the need to generate a sale to bring in both Nico Williams and Dani Olmo. Arsenal are also eyeing the situation. And let me tell you guys something. There is no way Barcelona should sell this player for 65 million euros. We have seen so many Saudi Arabia clubs pay more than 75 million euros for multiple players in Europe. How are you going to tell me that it is justifiable for us to accept 65 million euros for Rafinha when we saw him in the first season produce 10 goals and provide 12 assists, and then in his second season with Barcelona he provided 10 goals and 11 assists but in 37 matches. Rafinha, if anything, has been so efficient for the club. I don't even think that he should be sold. His numbers are amazing in my opinion. He also gives the Hansi Flick type of profile, right? He knows how to press, he knows how to defend, he's a hustler, he has a lot of stamina in him. I really don't think he should be sold, and if he does, 65 million euros is embarrassing. It's an insult. If you want to take away a player like him, who is one of our top goal scorers and one of our top assist players, at the very minimum, Barcelona should be expecting to see 95 million euros at the very minimum because of his numbers and because of his age and because of the contract length that he does have with Barcelona currently. He's still tied up with us for another 3 to 4 years. So why 65 million euros? And so let me know in the comment sections down below, what do you think should happen with Vitor Roque, and do you believe Barcelona should let go of Rafinha for 65 million euros? And if not, how much do you think he is worth? Or are you just somebody that wants to keep Rafinha for at least another 2 or 3 years? That is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.